Welcome to the Freight Agent Insider Podcast, hosted by Levi Van Pay.
Welcome in, everybody. How we doing today? Happy Monday to you. Let's kick this thing off. First of all, wherever you're listening to this from, I hope it's warmer than it is here because we're back into the cold weather, I guess. Fall, spring, like 4 times already. I'm moving. Let me know where I should move to. Kind of leaning Tampa. Kind of leaning Tennessee. That's happening. Sorry, Wisconsin. It's over. Before we dive in, if you could like us on TikTok, Spotify, YouTube, LinkedIn, leave a comment. Likes and reviews always help get our show guests more eyeballs and ears. If you want to become an agent and you don't know where to start, you can go to freightagentinsider.com. We have a boot camp course there. It will give you access to all of the tips and tricks, everything you need to know to become a proficient freight agent, as well as access to a lot of our show guests directly. So you can reach out to them for help anytime. 25% off with code INSIDER. We also have a pretty cool page there called Talk to Us Live, where you can pre-record your very own questions if you have them for the show guests. Ask our agents any questions you got, and we will ask them live on the air. The TIA conference is coming up. It's in Arizona. That's going to be April 15th. Freight Agent Insider will be there. So if you're going to be out there, hit me up. I'd love to meet anybody and everybody who's going. Quick shout out to Amy Kern, who's been following and listening to the show. I told her I'd give her a shout out. So shout out, Amy. Appreciate you. Okay. So show guest today is she's never been on before. Believe it or not, I'm completely lying. She's been on like 100 times now, but it's always fun. Always fun. Serena Kanline. That cheering runs on for 36 seconds. One of these days, I'm just going to let that whole thing
I get
run.
a standing ovation. I'm good. Just, wheeling and dealing. Living the dream.
Cashing checks and snapping necks.
Yeah. Living the dream.
Since the last time you were on here, what's changed? Has business gotten better or gotten worse or kind of like flat?
My 2 main customers are customers of each other, if you will.
Yep.
So one has gotten exponentially busier. So in turn, the other one is scaling because they provide them with their material. So like the orders are getting bigger for one, and then the job sites are getting more, I guess, higher volume.
Mm-hmm.
Like more operating job sites at a time. I think we have like 6 operating job sites at the moment. No, there's more than that. Let's call it 10.
Okay, big dog.
But yeah, I've had a few people reach out to me from the great beyond that I haven't dealt with in a while. When people drop the ball, people come back around, and I don't really bother people that like fall off with me because I'm friends with most of them.
Yeah.
I'm also like pretty busy with what I'm already dealing with. So if they don't need me, that's okay. But I got a phone call from, they're actually local to me. Like I used to meet them for lunch like once a week. Cause it's the sales manager is my old bar regular when I was a bartender. I haven't really gotten to meet them. Anyway, he called me the other day and he was like, "Hey stranger, I need your help." And I said, "Okay, what's up?" And he goes, "Can you just tell me a rate from," it was like Midway, Florida, which is up in the Panhandle, I think, down to Miami.
Yep.
Standard flatbed, whatever. And I said, "Yeah, sure. And he was like, let me just tell you what happened. They have a bunch of distribution centers. They all operate under a big 3PL. He was using me out of Orlando just because, like, I know people, whatever. But it turned out to be a lot of red tape. So, like, he stopped using me as much. Fine. That big 3PL quoted him, it's 500 miles. Okay. I mapped it. Quoted him $5,000 for 500 miles. And I said, and he was like, no, I almost spit out my coffee when they told me that. And I was like, okay, let me just worst case scenario you right now with full transparency. Because the state of the world right now, right? Fuel is through the roof. Rates are through the roof. We get it. Okay. So you're not going to pay a truck $2 a mile anymore. That's fine. I don't know that I've ever paid a truck $2 a mile, but things are crazy right now. We all understand that. So I'm like, okay, let's just go. I find a truck at $5 a mile. That's $2,500, which that's pretty fair and standard right now. I could easily find a truck for $5 a mile. $2,500. I said, even if I marked it up $1,000, that's $3,500, which I would never do. And he knows that. But he was like, yeah, I'll get the details and I'll call you back. And I was like, okay. I was like, I don't even know how somebody comes up with that amount. Like, it's a standard. This isn't overdimensional. It's literally just a standard flatbed, no tarp run. Not that the tarps would be $1,000, but it was wild. So I have people come back around, and I had my machine guys reach out to me last week or the week before about stuff that has to go somewhere. And I gave them a price because I went to my regular carrier. I asked them, because that's what I do, right? I'm not just going to make up a number off of DAT because I don't trust it. I'm going to go ask somebody that I trust what their rate would be, base it off that. I went back to that customer and they were like, why is it so high? And I said, fuel is through the roof right now, causing either less trucks on the road because they don't want to run if fuel's that high, if they're not going to get paid for it.
Sure.
Or the trucks that are on the road are asking for higher rates because they have to fill their gas tanks. And he was like, yeah, okay, let me take it to the customer. And then he eventually came back to me and he was like, okay, run it. And I'm like, I think people just really need to get it on board. Yeah, fuel will fluctuate, but diesel is so high. I have regular guys that run for me out of Texas that have literally told me that they would rather stay home.
Sure. Yeah.
Than run freight right now and have to fill their gas tank up.
I know you said that particular guy, he was somebody you knew from the past. This was something I was going to ask you about a little bit later, but this is kind of relevant now, but did he see some of the stuff that you're putting out there on your media, whether it's LinkedIn or TikTok or the podcast appearances?
My local Orlando guy?
Yeah. And has doing some of that stuff helped you generate new business or just develop a larger audience?
It's definitely given me a larger audience. I think that I'm so transparent and just unapologetically who I am. I'm not going to chat GPT a post to make people think I'm smarter than I am.
Yeah.
I'm just not. Somebody made an angry comment on my post from last week that's just a picture of how great my hair looked. It was like, this is not Facebook. And it's like, okay, calm down, please.
Calm down.
Please calm down. I'm so sorry I have a face. But it's definitely...
I agree.
I have a handful of people that reach out to me that see my stuff and they come to me and they're like, that's how I got a couple of my machine customers.
Yeah.
But it was it very much started off as I don't pitch slap people.
You do a great job with just, everybody talks about authenticity. It's like the ultimate buzzword. If you want to grow an audience, just be authentic. But you kind of embody what that means. And Like, for example, I know plenty of recruiters in the logistics space that are like, hey, marketing team, I need you to create posts for me every day. And to that, I say, you're doing it completely wrong. In fact, your marketing team is also doing it wrong if you want to go about it like that, because people smell it, they see it from a mile away. Nobody cares about it. And I think that's why people love you and interact with you. It's like every time you post something on LinkedIn, I see it and I'm like, your picture with your husband, the anniversary one, that damn thing sat atop my LinkedIn for like a week and a half. Like it was just
Everybody
there.
loves Kenny. Everybody loves Kenny. And I don't
Everybody
tag
loves
him because
Kenny.
he doesn't really use his LinkedIn. Like he has one because he's the GM of a, construction company, if you will. But because I have a bunch of connections on LinkedIn that like live to troll me in a funny, like we're friends, but
Right.
they would blow up my husband's LinkedIn just to be funny.
I
And
wanted
it
to
would,
talk I wanted to talk to you, Serena, about this is something I've been thinking. I told you before we started, this is something I've been thinking about with you for a little while now. Because you don't really like outwardly portray it, but as I've gotten to know you, I've gotten to know a very driven person. So I wanted to talk to you about drive a little bit. And you might be, like I said, a little like silent on that side of things. But as an example, I hear people quite often because, again, this is the fourth time you've been on the show now. So
yeah.
I hear about you quite a lot. People ask me all the time, like, what is the inside scoop on Serena? Like, did she really just get lucky? Yada, yada, yada. But you have two ideals that I really, really respect. In fact, the other day you said the phrase "risk it for the biscuit," which is one of my favorite all-time phrases. And another one that I think of when I think of you is "no one is coming to save you," and you embody that too. Like I think about that about myself all the time. Like, dude, I grew up dirt poor, and as I grew up, I had that dog in me. I had this dog mentality of like, Levi, you're getting out of shape. No one's coming to save you, big dog. You got to get to the gym. Life is getting expensive. Nobody's coming to save you. You got to figure it out. Make more money. Your job is hard. No one's coming to save you. You got to figure it out. Nobody is coming to save you. So you embody these things. And I just kind of want to hear it from you. And maybe you say, Levi, you're completely wrong. I'm not a driven person.
I
I
mean,
won't bully you into saying it, but
I come from a woman who was a single mother almost my entire life. We can call it my entire life. Um, who did everything she could for us. When I left my ex-husband, who is the father of my children, they were very, very small, like 1 in 3 small. I was waiting tables bartending at the time. He didn't make a ton of money. Like we had like $1,000 between us. And I just had to get out. I didn't care what it looked like. I didn't care. I was going to figure it out. And I struggled for a while. And, my parents are never going to let me fully drown. But my mom is a pretty harsh woman and is like, you got to figure this out. You made this decision. You got to work it out. And, it was a lot of doubles behind the bar. It was a lot of like, not necessarily time away from my kids because I still stayed home with them during the day. I tried really hard to only bartend on the weekends when they were with their dad. But there was a lot of missteps. There was a lot of overdrafts in my bank account. There was a lot of, but I would get to a point and I would be like, okay, I'm going to work a 16-hour double tomorrow because I have to.
yeah.
And I am one of the, like, I used to run my butt off behind a bar. I will run a 30 top bar with a service well and run my own food 90% of the time because I'm going to do it. I don't want to share my money. I don't want to do 80% of the work and split it with somebody.
Right.
Like, let me do it by myself. I've got it. And, I made a couple of choices before I got into this industry that kind of bit me in the butt. Um,
How
and,
so?
I ended up here, but I had to show up for my kids.
Right.
To me, there wasn't like sorry, my phone is blowing
You're
up. You
fine.
can
You're
hear my
fine.
dinging. Um, I had to get to a point where I didn't have to tell and my kids are I've been poor. I did Christmases at the Dollar Tree. I borrowed money from my sister one year for Christmas. Like, my kids are very humble. They don't ask me for Stanley Cups and Sephora. Like, my kids are very grateful, like, low maintenance children. It used to break my heart when they would go, "Mom, can we go to McDonald's?" And I'd be like, "No, like, we just can't." And now I'm at a point where I'm like, I can give my kids almost whatever they want. I don't have to say no to them. I can provide them a future that legitimately was never in the cards for me.
Yeah.
My husband is very supportive. He has a really good job. He would have we would have been totally fine had I stayed bartending or, whatever.
Right.
I just when I got a piece of it, I needed a bigger chunk of it.
Yeah.
And I don't I just want to do it all myself. Like, is it stressful? Yeah. But I also just really love to prove people wrong. So, like, even myself, like, even if it's just myself, I doubted myself almost every month that I was in this industry for the first 6 months.
Yep.
I was like, I can't do this. I'm not salesy enough. I'm not pushy enough. I don't want to bug people, but I need somebody to just trust me. And they did. Somebody from like a past life decided to trust me. And, my other big customer, the very first time I spoke to him, told me that he hated brokers. And I was like, first of all, rude. Second of all, I kind of get it. I know enough schemy, like greedy brokers at this point that, like, I get it.
Yeah.
Somebody put a bad taste in your mouth, not me. So I get your feelings. But, like, okay, he came to me, he needed me. I continued to prove to him that he could trust me. And now I have made the whole company, dependent on me.
Yeah.
All of his site guys have my phone number. They all call me in turn. I had a phone call from 3 separate of them this morning. Like,
Yeah.
I was on the phone with one and a different one called me. And they
I'm
were like, "If
glad.
anybody can do it, it's you." And I'm like, "You guys have a lot of faith in me."
Well, hey,
Made
I'm
me
glad. I'm glad that you hit on this because it's so, so important. And, the people that like earlier you mentioned, like somebody on one of your posts talking about how this isn't Facebook. Why are you posting a picture of your face? Yada, yada, yada. You hit the nail on the head. And it's something that I've known about you for a long time. I didn't know where it came from, but you just said it. You want to prove people wrong. And maybe that's always been there. Maybe it started at a young age. Maybe you just got into freight and it just hit you, but you're a competitive person. You're really, really good at what you do. And I mentioned earlier, like people that'll reach out to me and ask me about the inside scoop on Serena Kanline. And it was not luck
just so
at all.
funny.
Yeah,
It
it's a
was a
weird
little
thing.
when I say luck, I am referencing the fact that somebody that I know from years and years and years ago that I just so happened to keep in contact with, her husband just so happened to start a very lucrative company in the interim of she and I being friends. Like, she got married, I got married, whatever. And they needed somebody when I started this and they decided to trust me. Then turns out their customer, vendor, well, they're the vendor, whatever, also then started to trust me. But I'm very like, I am who I am. I am going to make a little jokey joke when we're all a little stressed out. And if you can't find me funny, I don't want it. My biggest customer, yeah, had one of his vendors reach out to him
Mhm.
asking who he uses. Like,
Yeah.
what broker and or company do you use? And he said, here's because he texted me and said, do you want another customer? HPC, or I'll say that. Do you want another customer? My vendor is asking
Mhm.
me. And I said, yeah,
Right.
for sure. Send it. So he sent me a screenshot of their conversation where he said, uh, his vendor asked, like, does she shine in a certain region or does she go, does she operate all over? And he said, coast to coast. She can do Canada too. She's a little lippy, but she's one hell of a broker. And I'm like, no notes. Fact. Like, I will do anything you ask me to do. I will make just about anything happen for you if you're not just worried about the bottom dollar. I'm never going to unfairly mark something up. I would never. That's not how I operate. That's not who I am.
Yeah.
I have paid out of pocket detention and layovers and truck washes. I don't even know how many times over the last year. But they trust me and we have like a real partnership happening.
Yeah.
So the luck is, call it coincidence, but I didn't actively go after any of my customers. That's what I mean when I say luck. Now, did I then get those customers and work my butt off and prove to them that they made the right decision? Yeah. I answer the phone. I fix things. If I can't fix them, I admit that I can't fix them. But I'm going to do everything that I can. Like today, I had to find a last minute truck in
Mhm.
middle of nowhere, West Virginia, to get there today, to deliver in Indiana tomorrow. Nobody wants to
Mhm.
do that. They want to either go home for the weekend and drop on Monday or whatever.
Right.
I had it posted at $2,000. Okay. 2,000, which is, it's like 450 miles. Nothing. Nobody. I reach out to somebody that I know that usually has trucks out there. And he's like, I can get somebody there at like 6:00, but we need $3,000 for it. And I was like, that's insane. I texted my customer that's in West Virginia and I said, my only option is somebody that can get there at 6 p.m., but he wants $3,000 for it. And that's insane. And he goes, no, I'll do it. Go. And I was like, okay. I was like, here you go. I paid the truck. I got him to 28. I was like, I'm not even really making any money here, but like, I can charge the customer 3. I can pay you 28. Just go. And we have a relationship. So he was like, fine. I'm like, that's still pretty decent. But like, trucks want to make thousands of dollars over the weekend. I get that. But I was like, hey man, I might be failing. He was like, no, never. But they're not cheap. They want to throw money at a problem so that it happens. Because this stuff has to happen. Like, these aren't like boxes of t-shirts that if it gets delayed, nothing happens. Like, these are like active, it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's 24/7.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe not 24/7, but 20.
Well, we'll hope you get a little bit of sleep too. Serena, what's something that you've learned? Like earlier, we were talking about your social media and like how you've kind of blown that up. Is there something that you could point to through growing that you think you do well that other agents get wrong, or anybody looking to develop an audience gets wrong?
I mean, I don't really take the social media thing too seriously. Like, it's just something that, like, I've met some incredible people. Like, I have a handful of friends in the industry now that, like, I'm so thankful for. Um, connections, people I can go to for advice,
Yeah.
insight. Cause my knowledge in the industry is very cornered to my little corner.
Mm-hmm.
It's my industry knowledge is very niche, and I will never not admit that. Like, people ask me things outside of that, and I'm like, uh, let me find out
Yeah.
because I don't know.
Yeah.
It's all just but the social media thing I think is good if you, one, can take the heat of people not being happy with it.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, I mean, my dog's going viral on TikTok right now, and people are mad that he's, like, hurting my kitten, and he's not.
Not at all. I saw the video.
So it's like, it's very, like, and I've had a few, and this isn't even relative to work, but, like, I've had a few videos on my TikTok, like, go, like, baby viral that, like,
Mm-hmm.
involve my husband, and the amount of hate comments I got for not cooking him dinner because he was cooking dinner
Yeah.
was insane.
Yeah. TikTok is like a different
So, like,
world compared to LinkedIn. Like
I
I've
mean,
seen
I've had
exactly
people say
that.
some unimaginable stuff to me on LinkedIn.
Really on LinkedIn.
I had a man I made a post about, because I was a surrogate.
Right.
That's honestly, I when I started my LinkedIn, I was, like, actively seeking a role at a surrogacy agency. So that's
Mm-hmm.
part of my LinkedIn. I was a surrogate twice, and I made a post about it, and a guy, because 'cause I'm very open about the fact that my last surrogacy was 2 men. They got an egg donor, I was the oven. I had a man basically tell me that I was going to hell because I sold a baby to 2 gay men. And I was like, "Get away from me." Like, I can't call somebody a nerd in a comment without LinkedIn being like, "Hey, girl, maybe double think that." And this man, I wish I probably still have screenshots somewhere. He was so vile. Basically saying that, like, those 2 men were going to abuse this baby. And I was
Yeah, and
like,
the interesting thing about without completely going on a tangent here, but the interesting thing about people like that are probably front row at church on Sunday and have the ability to spit more hatred than anybody you'll ever meet.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, but the social media thing, I think, is just, like, one, a way for me to, because I do work from home and I am, like, extroverted to a fault.
Mhm.
So, like, having an outlet, where I can just, like, chit chat with my friends and, like, troll
Yeah.
people. I'm, like, known for some of the dumb comments that I make on people's LinkedIns. Like, I tell every man that I see that his wife is too hot for him. It's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah, I've heard that from you before.
The joke lands every time. But so, like, but at this point, people, like, tag me so that their posts get more views. I have people that are like, "Your stuff shows up on my feed more than anybody else." For a while, I was really,
True.
really active on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I've kind of taken a step back. I've gotten really busy, so I don't have a ton of time because I do like to, like, keep up with, like, the comments. I want to interact with my fans. Um, just kidding. But I think social media can be a really good tool if you use it the right way and if you don't let it go too far into, like, parasocial relationships.
Yeah, I
You know?
agree. The other week, I had Chris Jolly on, the freight coach, and we talked a lot about social media. 'Cause he runs his own podcast, so he's pretty big on social media. He does shows all over the United States,
Mhm.
and he's a wealth of knowledge. And one thing he told me was, at any given time, 50% of people hate you, and 50% of people love you. Focus on the people that actually enjoy your content and are supportive. Don't worry about the other 50%.
I mean, at the end of the day, nothing is really that serious. So, like, you're mad that I posted a selfie, even though I very much captioned it with what I was dealing with at work. So, like, it's
Right.
relevant.
Yeah.
Um, it's just whatever. I see
The side
some,
note is you see guys posting photos all the time too on LinkedIn and nobody says anything like
yeah,
that. It's
like he can
who cares?
post at the gym, but I can't be like, look how great my hair is. Also, I'm stressed out.
Yeah, it's
Calm
who
down.
cares? Right.
So yeah, I mean, there's a number of ways to, I think, get your name out there. It's really just like the image that you want to portray, I guess. You know? Like,
Yeah.
I'm okay with the way that I post because I guess, how do I say this without sounding
Say
like a
it.
brat? I'm in a position where I'm I have a really solid relationship with 2 very big customers.
Yeah.
They know who I am. They think I'm hilarious. They don't care that I'm lippy because
Mhm.
I get things done.
Yep.
I've had people reach out to me that are like, "My god, I see your posts all the time. Do you wanna, like, quote some lanes?" And I'm like, I mean, I don't really have a ton of time for that. I can, but I'm gonna tell you right now that I'm not going to quote lanes every day against 3 other brokers, and you're just gonna pick the lowest one.
Yeah.
That's not, I, 1, don't have time for it, 2, not how I operate,
Serena,
3,
one of
like,
the sorry to cut you off. 3, I was gonna say, one of the best agents I know in the space from top to bottom, guy does everything is Michael Gray. Doesn't have a huge presence on LinkedIn. He's much bigger, posts every day on TikTok. But he is adamant that if he says the same thing you just said, if I'm competing against other brokers every day, I don't have time for you. Either I'm your
I don't,
only,
yeah,
yeah, I'm your guy or I'm not. There's something very powerful about that. Don't race to the bottom. Don't waste your
no.
time.
I mean, and that's it, that's a great, like, if I'm not the only one, it's either I'm the only one, you tell me where you need to be on price, and I do everything in my power to make that happen, or you're not focused on price and you're just gonna trust me. Like,
Bingo.
you either
Yes.
want it there safely or you want it there cheaply, and I don't do the latter. But my stuff is very important and very, not that everything's not important, but, like, my stuff is very expensive.
Yeah. Okay. And you've gotten very busy with your two main customers.
Yeah.
If you landed a third or a fourth and they are like your first two, right? Where they're relationship oriented, they're not worried about the price, would you still move their stuff or are you just like maxed out at
Yeah.
this point? And what is the next step if you get there?
Um, I would probably I work very closely with somebody that works under the same company as I do. I would tag team it with her. You know, I can be the face of the relationship if that's what they're after, and I can do the bulk of the work, but I trust her because she operates the same way I do. She understands how I operate, so I can trust her to kind of fill in the gap of the relationship. But yes, like my customer asking me if I want his vendor, yeah, if he's yeah, if he operates under the same kind of premise, for sure.
Okay.
I'm not
So
like, people think I'm
shippers,
turning down customers. I've had people say it to me before, and I'm like, I have new shippers that come to me that I run stuff for, but not at the expense of, like, you need me to
right.
run quotes every day and you're not, like, no, if somebody needs me, then yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But under
Fully
a
on board
certain,
with you.
like, if I'm
Yeah.
your only one, then I'm your only one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Fully,
it'll get
fully
tough.
agree.
Yeah.
Yep. So shippers out there, if you're not just lowballing our girl here,
I can't
you want a
wink.
real relationship. Yeah. So she's
Don't go off
winking
the wink. It's not how my husband fell in love with me.
for sure. All right. Let's see here.
Freight Agent Insider Tips for Success.
I'll talk to you all
You have
day.
to warn me.
Yeah, I know. That thing is loud. We'll talk all day. We're at 30 plus minutes, so we'll wrap it up with this. What do you got for us? And again, you're so unique in the way you do this. I've talked to so many
I
agents.
guess I
I
am.
talk to successful agents, and you're one of the very successful ones. And I'm glad we kind of dug into where all of that stems from, and proving people wrong is a massive motivator. I love that you said it. But what do you got for us on the front of, the younger generation of brokers out there who want to be Serena Kanline and they don't know how to get a foot in the door? Maybe they want to start, and real quick, this is how crazy this industry is getting. Yesterday, we obviously post the show out to TikTok, and that's where we kind of reach the younger audience out there. There was a accepted med school student who reached out to me and was asking about what it takes to become a freight agent or a freight broker, because they did not want to spend $300,000+ on medical school. They couldn't afford it. Yeah, they couldn't afford it. So it goes to show, A, this country's in a really tough spot, and B, there's a lot of money to be made in this industry without spending 4+ years on school.
Yeah, I mean, I do think there's a little bit of a misconception to the amount, like, I see carriers all the time posting about they think that brokers are making 40% on a load, which is just not true.
Right.
Maybe it is like here and there, but it's just not accurate. So I think the misconception of it being like quick, big money, no. If you give it time, like if you have the opportunity to like give it time to grow, yeah, bet on yourself, take the chance, but you have to put the work in. Like, customers aren't just going to fall in your lap. If they do, you still have to prove them right. Like, you still have to show them why they should trust you. And that takes honesty that you might not want to admit. It takes relationships with carriers that are really hard to build, especially when most of them have a bad taste about brokers. And you got to answer the phone when they call. I got a phone call at 9:00 last night.
Yeah.
That I had to problem shoot something. And, it was neither here nor there, but I do think that it can be what people think it is, but it's also really hard until you get to that point. So, but it can happen, you just have to be able to make it happen.
One more quick
You have to
thing,
get through
Serena.
the-
Yeah, absolutely. Earlier, you mentioned that you are so niche specific, and I know you're famous for not cold calling, and you're also famous for, if you lost these customers, you'd be done.
Yeah.
But
Find me
be
bagging groceries.
but if let's just say, like, you just find another gear one day and you do want to actually find more customers, what would your advice be for like in your particular situation? Like, you're niche specific, you said that you're super niche specific, and that's
Yeah.
where your knowledge lies. Would you cold call similar
No.
shippers? Not at all. Okay, let's end the show.
I guess, okay, let's change. Okay, the answer is no, but for the sake of this conversation, because I've had people ask me this, like, they're trying to get into a similar customer that they know of mine, and they're like, what can I say to them to make them think that I know what I'm talking about? And I'm happy to, I'm like, XYZ, blah, 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 blah. I guess if because at that point, what do I have to lose, right? If I knew of one, I would definitely call and be like, hey, I used to run blah, blah, blah's freight. I'm very versed in the industry. If you need somebody, but I think going in front of people is a better option than cold calling.
Sure.
You know? But
So for the sake of the conversation, you'd go to the shippers versus calling them. Yeah.
who could say no to this face?
Well, the guy on LinkedIn, clearly.
Yeah, the men that hate me on LinkedIn. You're right.
That's it. That one. Yeah. No, that's great. Serena, thank you for joining for the 4th time. We're racking up hours now, and one way or another, I get so much out of our conversations every single time, and I know other people listening do too. You just bring an X factor to the game, and I think there's a lot to be learned from that.
I like that it makes people a little uncomfortable. They're like, how
Prove
did
'em
she
wrong.
get? I'm like, don't even worry about it. You'll never know.
Those are the people that you're proving wrong every day.
Yeah, and I
the
love
whole
it.
she got lucky. I don't buy it. You didn't. And I will never believe a word of that. You are just an X factor, and that's what it comes down to. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back next week, Monday, 9 a.m. Central Time, for more fun.
Princess Wave.
Have a great one. Bye.
Thank you for watching the Freight Agent Insider Podcast. Like us and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, and LinkedIn.